Hi everybody! It's Laurel Live, and today on Heartline we are talking about soaring higher with our thoughts. And I want to tell you a story, and maybe it will help you think about your thoughts, okay? I really get excited when I'm going to fly somewhere. And the first time I ever flew on a plane, I was in my early 20s, and I had to fly to get to a disability hearing because at the time I was having seizures night and day, and I was on a lot of strong medicine to try to stop the seizures and all this stuff. And so my case was all the way out in Ohio because that's where it started, and I didn't want to be on disability, but I had to apply and I had to try. But I always wanted to work off of it, so I'm working towards doing that. In the meantime, the whole higher thing comes with when I looked out the window, it was just so beautiful. And I remember hearing that we were at like 30,000 feet or 33,000 feet, and there was just, we were way up high. We could see all of this water, and when we were close to land, we could see land, and we could just see so far and so much. And we were so high, it made everything down on earth seem just so small. Not that people and situations and circumstances on the earth weren't like a big deal, but it just made everything seem small. And when you go up and you fly in a plane and you look out the window, it really helps you to think, wow, anything is really possible if I believe God and bring my thoughts and my ways up higher, like, because his thoughts and ways are higher. Because look what he made. I mean, when you fly and you look out the window, you really get this deep, just encouragement and hope and enthusiasm for anything is possible with God. And I'm telling you, I needed God so much at that time. I needed to come up higher in my thoughts and my ways because I was with the wrong guy in an abusive relationship. I had no income. I had no way to pay for rent on my grandparents' property, and I really needed to be able to do that to help with some of the costs and stuff. So I just wanted out of the abusive relationship. I just wanted off of the strong medications that were really part of the reason why I got into an abusive relationship. And I just really wanted to be free. I didn't want to be sick. I didn't want to be in an abusive relationship. I didn't want to be stuck in all these crazy, bad situations. And I couldn't work or drive. And the only way I was going to come out was to seek God and to bring my thoughts and ways up higher and get wisdom from him. His ways and thoughts are higher. So in his plan, he didn't want me to be in an abusive relationship. In his plan, he didn't want me to be sick. In his plan, he didn't want me to not have food or housing money. In his plan, there was a way for everything to come to fruition that I needed. And all of it was in his plan and in his ways and his thoughts. And he had already thought these thoughts and had these plans, but until I brought my ways up higher, nothing was going to change. I was going to be stuck in the place that I was at, and I wasn't going to accomplish my life's goals or God's purpose for my life. And I had to come in agreement with him and bring my thoughts and ways up higher. And at times it was hard to do that because I was so heavily medicated. So it was like really difficult at times. But as I did that, and I remember flying way up high, I remember God encouraging me. I just remember feeling so much excitement and hope, like, wow, when I look out across the big sky and the clouds and everything God made and how massive it is, it makes me think that anything is possible. Maybe I can come out of this abusive relationship and God can somehow turn the seizures around in my health and everything. And I really needed that encouragement because it just felt like, didn't seem like there was any way I was going to come out of this situation. But as I brought my thoughts up higher, as I cried out to God, as I tried to study his word or read his word, and I aligned my thoughts and my ways with his plan, and I agreed with God, he turned my whole life around, and he did it rather quickly. Within like 6 months, I was out of the abusive relationship. I was detoxing my body. I was off the strong anti-seizure medications. they were trying other medications, but my body was still rejecting them. And God just turned my life around. He helped me with a holistic medical practice, get my body detoxed and reset. I had a major encounter with God that spring. And then I started relearning my education and going to school. And my life just took off. Just like the plane, just, at some point you're going down the runway and you're wondering, when is my life going to take off? That is when my life began to take off. And it's like, as long as I was sticking with God and His plan and thinking the way He wanted me to think and the thoughts He wanted me to think that line up with His Word, that agree with Him, it was just going to be amazing. I mean, I just took off and I just started to soar, and I began relearning my education that was lost because of epilepsy and all the medication and stuff. It just wiped out a lot of my memory, and I just began to soar, and I was able to succeed in college, and I was able to succeed in being involved in the school and in the community and in my church. And God just opened up so many doors. And sometimes it just takes one small moment, like when we're flying in an airplane, or when you're walking by the ocean and you see how huge it is, how massive it is, how consistent it is. That is not even to be compared with how big God is and how much higher His ways and thoughts are than our ways. He's got all the wisdom. He knows everything. We just have to say, God, what is your plan? What is your way? What is your thought? What is your wisdom? What is your take on what is going on in my life? Where do you want me to be going? Where do you want me to soar? I only want to soar and take off on the plane for my life that you want me to take off on. And I want to soar high above all the challenges, the obstacles, the problems. And I can do that if I just hang out with you and learn how to tap into what you're thinking and what your ways are. It's just so amazing how God can take us from a place where we feel stuck, where we feel like we've been on the runway of our life forever, where we feel like we've been in a situation forever, and then all of a sudden He can just turn everything around. Just like that, He can just cause us to take off. He can cause us to take off. He can give us the power and the fuel we need, just like those jet engines. You just kick that into gear and you push, they just, the captains of the planes, they just move that little thing forward, that little stick forward, whatever they do. And when they take action, that plane starts to move and it gets faster and faster. And then they begin to lift up off the ground. And God wants to lift us up. He wants to lift our lives up. He wants us to soar. He wants us to go higher and higher. And He just wants us to stay up there with Him. And when we land, it's like we're still with Him, but we're just landing in between journeys. We're just landing, touching base with a few things, and then God's going to take us back up to soar more with Him. But even when we come down to land and deal with problems and circumstances that are not easy in our lives, know that God wants us to have a soaring mentality, like just thinking higher and higher, as if we're in that plane, as if we're in almost like a rocket ship. Okay, let's go from the plane analogy to like the rocket ship, okay? God just wants to sometimes wants us to focus on going vertical and just going straight up, just going straight to God when things are going on in our lives, and even when they're not, just going straight up and just being boosted up by Him and lifted up by Him and going higher and higher and higher, way up into the heavens, just way up high. That's where He wants our thoughts. That's the way He wants us to be thinking. And I don't always think that way. I am just like you in a lot of ways. I am normal. I think about food half the time. What am I going to eat? What work do I have to get done today? Is my daughter's schoolwork getting done the way it needs to be done? Is everything being taken care of, the household and the bills and everything else? But even when I was working on that today, even when I was working on getting bills together and student loans, and I was seeing the stacks of things where I could be, oh my gosh, it can weigh me down. It's hard to soar like that, right? But God took my thoughts higher to set goals that I can't on my own accomplish. I want to be debt free soon. I'm going to set specific goals. What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish with your life? Where are you heading? Whatever it is, God wants to bring you up higher and encourage you to just set the goals that He's put in your heart. Set some goals that you can't accomplish and soar with God. Soar in His Word. Soar in what He thinks about you, which is that you're priceless and that you are worth time and energy and value. And God just loves you so much. He doesn't want to see you stuck on the runway of life. He wants to see you soaring with Him. And so do I. And I believe we can all soar together. And as your friend, I just wanted to tell you that because I love you so much. I love you so much. I want to encourage you to soar, just to let God take you up in His plane and let Him show you all the wonderful things He wants to do with your life. Let Him take you to that place of hope and belief and increase your faith so you can soar onto the next place He's called for you to be. It's an adventure. So I just want to encourage you today, just allow God to take you to soar with Him because He's awesome. Okay? He's awesome. So let God take you to soar with Him and take your thoughts and your ways higher. That's what I'm working on. And I am just looking above and beyond and past what seems to be obstacles and challenges. And I'm going to let God help me soar, take off and soar right over them. And I encourage you to do the same. This is Laurel for Heartline today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you tomorrow. I love you. Bye-bye.